Hello and welcome everyone. If you could just give us one moment to get started. Welcome everyone. Um, Today we are trying something new, so welcome. Today we thought we would go live and show everyone how to make a healthy, affordable snack. Today we are doing this as part of our Smart Snacking series. So you may have seen this on our social media on Facebook and YouTube. Smart snacking is a way for us as Cooking Matters to show our audience how to make a healthy, delicious, affordable snack. So today we're going to make a healthy, delicious, affordable snack. We are going to be making the Northwest apple salad, which is a Cooking Matters favorite. Um, so today, this is a really great recipe just because apples are coming in season. So that means that everything's going to be a little more reasonable as far as apples go. So this is a really great snack for that. Today, my chef here is Sajwa, one of my coworkers, and my name is Jordan. We are both with the Cooking Matters program with the University of Minnesota Extension. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sajwa to get started on our recipe. Take it away, Sajwa.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Jordan, for the introduction and the just brief explanation of what smart snacking is. As Jordan mentioned, today we are going to be doing the Northwest apple salad. She already kind of mentioned her favorite thing about this recipe. I like the fact that you can use a variety of types of apples. You can get really creative with that, and as you know, different apples provide different things. So that can be crisp, crunch, they could be sweet, they can be a little bit more tart. Different apples provide different aesthetics. So keep that in mind when you're doing this recipe. So let's go ahead and get started. As always, I have already prepped my space. I've cleaned it and sanitized it. In one of my classes, I like to mention the difference between having a clean space and a sanitized space. So clean means we're removing any visible dirt or anything that might be in our cooking prep area. And then sanitizing means we're going to be clearing out any bacteria or germs that might be there. So that may be using a disinfectant spray to do that. So I've taken care of that. I've also done my mise en place, which I will show you guys in a moment. And I've washed my hands. So we want to make sure to wash our hands for 20 seconds. You can sing the ABCs or happy birthday twice, and that'll get you there. But making sure you get in between those fingers, around your wrists here, and underneath any fingernails. So let me show you my mise en place very quickly. All right, that's what my mise en place is looking out. And basically what that means is I have my mess in place, as we like to say here with Cooking Matters. I have everything out that I need for this recipe. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with this snack. The first thing we wanna do is make sure that we rinse any vegetables or fruit that we use whenever we're cooking. So in this case, I've already rinsed my apples and we're gonna go ahead and cut them. For this recipe, you do not need to peel your apples. Let's keep that skin on there, you guys. There's gonna be a lot of fiber and nutrients in there. And we like to encourage eating a rainbow. So by eating an apple or this specific apple, you'll be getting green and white into your rainbow. So let's make sure we do that. Before I begin cutting, I just want to quickly review my knife handling skills. I am pinching the blade of the knife with my index finger and my thumb on the back, and then I wrap my fingers around the handle there. So that's just going to give me a lot of control, and I'll be able to really maneuver that knife in a safe way. I'm also going to be making a claw with my other hand and using that claw to hold my apple. So when I cut an apple, I like to just cut it kind of into the four quadrants so that I can avoid the core that's there in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
And this is a really great technique if you don't have one of those apple corers at home where you press down on the apple. So you can just use a knife to cut your apple. You don't need any fancy gadgets like Sajwa is doing here.
So with this recipe, there are two ways that you can do your apples. The first way is just by cutting them into 1 inch like thick slices, like so, and you can go ahead and use that in your recipe. I can show that here too. But I like to actually do them in kind of a large dice. I think that works really well and makes it a little bit easier to pick up. So this is what I mean by that there. And I'm gonna put that in my bowl. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that with 2 apples here.
Perfect. And Sajwa is going to have a little bit of a leftover core. That is something you can actually use. Cooking Matters, we always like to talk about broth bags in all of our videos. A broth bag is just a bag of scraps of like onions and even apples. You can throw in there and make broth out of them. This is a really easy way to save a little money on things like broth. And sometimes broth isn't always on the shelf. A few months ago, it was a little difficult to find broth, so you can actually make that at home. So go ahead and use those apple cores in your broth. Not too many, or that will be a little sweet, but you can use those apple cores. If you want to learn how to make broth at home, you can check out some of our other videos on our YouTube channel. That is Cooking Matters Minnesota YouTube channel as well.
Yes, and I appreciate you for saying that, Jordan. You know, we're here in the fall time, coming up on winter very quickly. So it is that soup season that I love so much. I don't know about you guys out there. So the broth is definitely going to come in handy for this time of year.
Absolutely. It is a little cold and dreary today, so soup sounds really great.
Oh, yeah. Looks like I got a little bit of that core in there. I'm going to just cut that out because we don't want that in our salad today. A little bit here at the bottom. Just going to take that out. Okay. Yes, so this recipe would be great if you were taking it to a potluck type setting, or you know, even if you were having a picnic outside or something of that sort. I know that we are practicing our social distancing, so this also makes a really great and easy snack for those of you working from home, maybe who have children, doing school from home online. This is a great snack for that.
Absolutely. And Sajwa's doing a large dice on those apples. If you wanted to make them a little smaller, you sure could. It does kind of turn out nice with a little bit of a larger dice on this recipe as well. But looks like Sajwa's just got a little bit more to cut. We talked a little bit about smart snacking earlier, but having snacks in your diet is a really great way to have a healthier diet. Just because it can kind of help us fill those gaps, keep us full and energized in between snacks. So having a snack like this in between meals can be really a great part of your diet.
So the next step, we are going to be going ahead and adding our dried fruit and yogurt. And then we will also be adding some nuts too. So I'm going to start out with my dried fruit. Today I'm using raisins, but you could use a variety of things, cranberries, any dried fruit really will work. And you just need 2 tablespoons. So I kind of filled that first one halfway. I didn't fill it all the way up. So I'm going to just go ahead and add that extra half. So there are my dried fruit in there. And then let me grab my yogurt from the refrigerator.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to keep that in the refrigerator so it's coming out in the very last moment before I need to use it, to make sure that I'm keeping up with my food safety and keeping perishable items like this out of the danger zone. So I have my yogurt here, and we need 3 tablespoons of yogurt. Today I am using, maybe it'll be better here. Today, oh, it's a little bright, you can't quite see, but I am using a non-fat Greek yogurt that is also plain. So that's what I'll be using today.
It's always a really great to have that plain yogurt on hand. It's really versatile. You can use it for a lot of different things. For instance, using it as a sour cream substitute is a great way to get a little more protein and still have that sour cream taste. And then you can use it in salads like this as well. And you can also sweeten it if you wanted to use it, for instance, like for a parfait. You can sweeten it with a little bit of honey and some vanilla and make kind of a honey vanilla yogurt out of it as well.
Great, so I've got my yogurt in there. And then finally, I am going to add my nuts today. And you would be needing 2 tablespoons of nuts. I've already pre-measured this. This recipe does suggest walnuts, but you could use a variety of nuts. As you can see today, I am using some sliced almonds. I'm not a big fan of walnuts myself, so I decided to go with the almond route, and that'll work just fine for this recipe. And then we're gonna do a quick toss with all of these ingredients together and make sure that we are coating our apples completely, that everything's nice and well coated, well tossed in there. And Jordan already kind of mentioned this for us already. This is a plain Greek yogurt, so if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of honey to sweeten it. I do encourage you guys and challenge you all to go ahead and try this recipe without the honey first, and then add once you've already tasted it, because you will get a lot of good natural sweetness coming from the apples here and from the raisins or whatever dried fruit that you've chosen to add. So I'm gonna wait to taste before I add honey. But if I was to add honey, you're gonna need just a tablespoon of honey in there, and then you would go ahead and toss it like so. And that is our snack for today. We said it was going to be quick. We said it was going to be easy, and we certainly delivered on that. I'm going to serve myself up a little plate here. Looks so good.
That is awesome. So as we mentioned, apples are in season right now, so this is a great way to use those apples. And I'll just mention, let's just go over my plate real quick. So with my plate, we have 5 different food groups, and they suggest that we should be eating from all 5 food groups at every meal, but sometimes that doesn't always work. I know I always have a little bit of difficulty getting vegetables in, for instance, breakfast. So something you can do with these snacks is actually eat your vegetables that you were missing at, for instance, breakfast, and eat them during your snacks during the day. So it's a great way to fill in those gaps. With this recipe, we have all these beautiful fruits, and we have a little bit of protein from those nuts as well. So if you were missing some fruit or some protein at breakfast, this is a great way to incorporate that into your diet. So this is such a beautiful
dairy too, though.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Thank you, Sanjua. So we've already got 3 food groups in this one snack. So this is a really great way to incorporate all those food groups that we need in our diet, as well as eat a really delicious snack as well. So it's quick, it's easy, just like Sanjua said. So that's our Northwest apple salad. Thank you all for joining us today. Please join us again tomorrow. We are going to be going live again tomorrow. That is Thursday at 2 p.m. And tomorrow we're going to be making a sweet potato shepherd's pie. So we are looking forward to seeing you all again. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.